The term comes from the Greek words gamos, marriage, and ergates, worker. Unlike standard queens, gamergates are morphologically workers. They have the same thorax structure and lack wings. However, they possess functional spermathecae, sperm storage organs, which most worker ants have lost through evolution. The physical transformation. In species like Harpagnathos saltator, Indian jumping ant, the transition from worker to gamergate involves a radical internal restructuring. The brain actually shrinks by approximately 20 to 25%. The areas responsible for vision and processing complex outdoor navigation wither because the gamergate will never leave the dark safety of the nest again. Her ovaries expand significantly, eventually taking up the majority of her abdominal cavity. Her chemical signature changes entirely. She begins producing queen pheromones that signal her status and, interestingly, suppress the reproductive abilities of her sisters. When a gamergate dies or the colony becomes too large, a power vacuum occurs. This triggers a ritualized tournament that can last for weeks. Workers face off and strike each other rapidly with their antennae. It is a test of stamina and hormonal dominance. Interestingly, other workers police the fight. If a worker tries to act like a queen without winning the tournament, the others will pin her down for days until her hormone levels drop and she accepts her place as a subordinate. The victor eventually begins to produce eggs. In some species, she will then go to the nest entrance and release pheromones to attract a wandering male to mate, officially securing her status. Why would a species evolve to let workers fight for the throne instead of having a dedicated queen? Insurance policy. In a standard colony, if the queen dies, the colony is effectively dead, unless they can quickly raise a new queen from larvae. In gamergate species, any worker has the potential to step up. This makes the colony incredibly resilient to accidental extinction. Standard queens are expensive to produce. They require massive amounts of food to grow wings and flight muscles, most of which are wasted if the queen dies during her nuptial flight, which 99% do. Gamergate species skip the flight phase entirely, investing that energy back into the current workforce. Biologists believe gamergates represent an ancestral trait. Early primitive ants likely looked very similar to each other, with little difference between queens and workers. As ants became more social, some lineages evolved permanent queens, the giants with wings we see today, to colonize far-off lands. Others, like the Ponarinae subfamily, doubled down on the gamergate model. These are often specialized hunters that live in smaller, more agile colonies. For them, having a flexible queen system is more beneficial than the high-risk, high-reward flight of a standard queen. Examples of gamergate species: Harpagnathos saltator, known for their incredible jumping ability and the most well-studied gamergate transitions. Dinopanera, one of the world's largest ants, up to 3 to 4 centimeters. Their duels are particularly intense and involve chemical marking, where the challenger is smeared with a scent that invites the rest of the colony to attack them. Here is a little description of the beloved diakama mutilation ritual. The diakama ant has replaced the nuptial flight with a ritual that is as surgical as it is brutal. In these colonies, the throne isn't inherited by birth. It is maintained through a permanent physical demotion of every other female in the nest. Every worker in this genus is born with a pair of tiny, fluid-filled organs on their thorax called gemmae. These aren't just vestigial leftovers. They are biological master switches. If an ant keeps them, her brain receives a chemical signal to develop functional ovaries and a reproductive pheromone profile. To prevent this, the reigning gamergate, the sole egg layer, must act as a gatekeeper. The process begins with a vigil. The gamergate monitors the cocoons, waiting for a new worker to hatch. When the newborn, or callow, finally emerges, it is pale, soft, and defenseless. It is during this window of vulnerability that the gamergate strikes. She uses her mandibles to precisely bite off the callow's gemmae. This isn't a random act of violence, it is a permanent hormonal lobotomy. Without those two small organs, the newborn's brain can never trigger the queen transition. Her ovaries stay dormant, her behavior is locked into the worker caste, and she becomes a sterile servant to the colony. If the gamergate is aging or misses a hatching, the results are explosive. An intact worker will quickly begin producing dominant pheromones, leading to a violent coup. If the challenger wins, she becomes the new surgeon of the colony, immediately turning her mandibles on the next generation to secure her own reign. It is an evolutionary trade-off. The species has traded the safety of a born queen for a system where power is held through constant, calculated mutilation.